Welcome, X-Wing players or potential X-Wing players. My call sign is BatMando. I've been a casual and competitive player since 2015, and I am familiar with all seven factions in play. That does mean that all seven factions of the Star Wars universe actually can play in this particular game. So in which case, we got everything from the Republic all the way up to the Resistance. So in which case, let's go ahead and dive on in and talk about what is X-Wing, starting with the basics. And so basically, if you want to think about it, it's space chess with elements of poker, as in some randomness that you cannot control. It's not as deterministic as chess because, in chess, you got to memorize all of these openings or these specific strategies of how to work this, how to do that, and everything else. And yes, there are elements of that in X-Wing, but it is not fully determined. So in which case, chess pieces, let's go ahead with a comparison here of, yes, you have to memorize certain movements and that bishops, they do their diagonal thing. And yes, ships have bank turns. The knight has an L shape maneuver, and talon rolls are basically the same L shape, except that they flip your ship around. And these are all things that we'll cover here in a little bit. The chess pieces have abilities such as the rook. And then I'm going to say that, hey, guess what? All the pilots that are names, they all have abilities, and some of the ships have abilities. So in which case, you'll have to look these up, and I'll even give you some websites that you can go to and check out to see, like, oh, this person does this, that person does that, and all that other stuff. So the strategy in chess and also in X-Wing is that there is risk assessment. What pieces are you willing to lose to further your mission? So, and unfortunately, chess only has one mission: kill the king or trap the king, whatever, is all king based. But scenarios are what we play in X-Wing, and there are four kinds currently. There's a rumor that they're going to be coming out with more scenarios, but for right now, we only have four. So, as I already said, this is not deterministic. You don't have to memorize any of the openings. But in X-Wing, you have to outthink your opponent. You have to shut down the ship's strengths or their ship strengths, their pilot strengths. You have to shut those down in order to win. So it's a really fun game. I've had a lot of fun with it since 2015 and made a lot of good friends with it. And this is me trying to get back to the community and trying to grow the community and help people get better at their playing, or at least get a little bit more information of how to play. So the topics for this video, we got basic maneuvers, rules of engagement, we got list building basics, and base types. So in which case, make certain to fly casual and always remember it's a trap. So in which case, let's go ahead and dive on into basic maneuvers. Now, first things first, you're going to need a play space or a play mat. Now, unfortunately, the play mats are no longer in print. We would really love it if they would get them back on the printer, but so far they haven't done it. To the right, you can see that I have four different pictures of four different play mats that were available. Some of these you can find on eBay as the not reprints, but they're still available. And then sometimes you have to go on Etsy. Now, the thing with Etsy, I'm going to tell you, make certain that it is 3 foot by 3 foot, and make certain that it's not vinyl, because this material, it's not like it has a rubber base, but at the top of it, it's more of a fabric than it is vinyl. And vinyl, when you put a ship on vinyl, it tends to slip way too easily, and placement is everything in X-Wing, especially if you bump a ship and everything else. So we try not to bump ships. We already know that we're going to bump into a ship with all the fingers and hands trying to move everything everywhere and all that other stuff. So, but basic maneuvers, you need or basic play space, you need a piece of fabric. It could be felt from over at Hobby Lobby or Michael's, and you just need like a piece of felt that is 3 foot by 3 foot. Lay it down and make certain you iron it if it's felt, but don't be too hot because you don't want it to melt. Anyhow, so in which case, let's move on to the next basic maneuver slide, and this is where we get into dials. So in which case, we got all sorts of different dials. Each ship has a unique combination. So you can see over here, we got the T-65 X-Wing, and over here we have the Hawk 290. The Hawk 290 is both a rebel ship and a scum ship. Yes, there are different factions. Some ships can fly for two different factions, and we'll get to those later, or possibly in a different video. So in which case, each ship has its unique combination. They have 4 types of maneuvers, and that is you got your straight maneuvers, which is everything down the middle here. And then we got the bank maneuvers, which is basically these little maneuvers that take your ship and basically bend it about 45 degrees. So in which case that is your 45-degree bank right there. And that is what a bank does. And then you have your hard turns, which are these extreme maneuvers on the sides here, where you actually, instead of going 45 degrees, you end up 90 degrees, approximately where this symbol for the T65 is. There you go. And then you get into these specialized maneuvers. Now, these specialized maneuvers are not on every single ship, but some of them have them, some of them don't. Like, for instance, we'll talk about the K-turn. This is the symbol for the K-turn, and basically what it is you take your ship and it goes from, like, let's say it starts on the B, and then you move all the way over to N, except that you are flipped now and facing back towards the B. So that is what the K-turn is. And then you get in what is referred to as a sloop, also known as the senior's loop. So in which case, if you take a look down here, now this is one of my favorite ships that's in the extended, and I'm going to tell you that I don't think they're going to bring it back, but it's an awesome ship to fly for this reason, because it's got a senior's loop, and it can go ahead and basically come on over here, and then it flips around so that when this ship finally does move, it's going to be moving right into its arc so that it can shoot it from behind. And it started by facing it. Now it's already like flipped around and in your backside as you fly past it. So that's what a senior's loop is. These ships are, this is not the only ship that has it. Like the TIE fighters from the FO have it. There's several different ships that have it. You just got to find them. So in which case, let's go ahead and talk about the stop. So over here on the Hawk 290, you will see that we have this red square portion right here, and that is a full stop. In other words, like, you flip your dial, you don't move. So that is what you do. Now, you take a stress for it because it's a red maneuver, and we'll talk about that here in just a little bit, but that is what a stop does. You can't go anywhere. So, and it kind of throws people off when you expect someone to be moving and then they're still there. So watch a couple of our field reports. I want to tell you that one of the field reports that we did recently, it's Maul's Hateful Castle versus the Sinister Sticks. It will show you a ship using the stop action and how effective it is. So now let's talk about the Talon roll. Now, the Talon roll, some people get confused by it, but this is basically how it works. Your ship is facing this direction, and you can do a left or a right at this point in time. And you can see the 2 symbols right here. Those are the Talon rolls when you see it on the dial. So in which case, you go ahead and you're going 90 degrees, but then you flip your whole entire ship 180. So in other words, you started here, but now you're looking back behind you. And yes, this is a stressful maneuver, but that is essentially, like, if you know that somebody, like, let's say that you are here, someone's flying right past you, and you want to get them shot, they're within a, acceptable risk or acceptable margin so that you can actually shoot them down and kill them. Well, go ahead and flip it around, and then you are behind them as they thought, oh, I'm going to get around this guy and not have to worry about being shot at. Hey, guess what? Not anymore. Talon roll. So, and then you get into some of the post-maneuver movements. So in which case, you have barrel rolls, you have boosts, and basically the barrel roll is where you take a 1 template, and so let's go ahead and use this one right here. I apparently forgot to put in a barrel roll. So you got this right here. You will just basically move it over to the side, still facing the same direction. Now, when you take a look at boosts, this is going to be your 3 options. You can do either a 1 straight boost, or you can do a 1 bank boost. And in which case, those are your options for boosts. Now, you see that we got the whole red, white, and blue thing going on here. White indicates that it's a normal move, and that doesn't cause any stress. That doesn't take away any stress. So there you go. And then you get into a red maneuver, which is a stressful maneuver. In other words, like, the ship is stressed out, or the pilot's stressed out. I think it's the ship. So in which case, you go ahead and you conduct this maneuver. Maybe your ship is a little bit on the, still duct taped together side, and you receive a stress token. And when you receive a stress token, you cannot commit any more actions. You may be asking, what are actions? The actions are over here. You have a focus action, which I think I would talk about later in this video. Then you have a target lock action, and you also have a barrel roll action. Now, if you do not if you don't have a stress at that point in time, you can go ahead and do these things. So, but if you're stressed, all these things are not available to you unless you have a card that says otherwise, such as say like contraband cybernetics or pattern analyzer. So now you got blue maneuvers, as you can see right here, they will get rid of your stress. So your stress from the previous round, you go ahead and make your action phase, you take your maneuver, you complete your maneuver, and you get rid of your stress. Now you can take an action, whatever action that you choose according to the bar that is on the side of your card. Okay, or the pilot card, I should say. Now, we have obstacles, obstacles, and more obstacles. So in which case, on the board, you're going to have asteroids, you're going to have debris field, you're going to have gas clouds, and you're going to have other things that just pop up because there are bombs slash missiles out there that will drop a electro chaff cloud. Some ships have the ability to drop loose cargo right out their back end. And then some of the Jedi ships allow you to go ahead and drop the spare parts outside the back ends so that a missile can hit it instead of hitting Obi-Wan. Yes, from that time where Jango Fett was trying to kill him with the fire spray. So what I'm going to tell you is you can read here for yourself. Feel free to pause it and take a look at it. But like asteroids, you automatically get damage. Not all of the clouds, or I'm sorry, not all of the obstacles give you automatic stuff, but 2 of the 3 of them do. So in which case, these are the things that take place, and we go ahead and move on to the next thing. But mostly what you see here is that the obstacles do not give you an action or allow you to take an action afterwards. So let's go ahead and jump on into the next thing, the list building basics. Okay, so currently under 2.5, you have a 20-point maximum that you can build out in one of the squadron builders, such as Launch Bay Next or YASB, which stands for Yet Another Squadron Builder. So in which case, we'll get to that. I'll show you the links to that towards the end of this video. Now, you are trying to get to a combo that adds up to 20 points. If you have 19 points, you are automatically giving your opponent 1 victory point during the tournament or during your casual play. So in which case, you want to make sure that you fill it up to 20 points so you're not giving away points during the game. So then you get into loadout values, and ships have a whole bunch of slots, like anything from talents to crews to ordnance to everything, so much more that can be listed in just a brief video on this one. So I may do another video regarding like actual list building and take you through the process of, oh, I'm going to try this, I'm going to do that, and everything else in between. So in which case, loadout value, every ship has a different loadout, such as like right now, I'm going to say that Cad Bane and Scum for the Rogue Star class fighter has a total of 13 points that you can fill out there. So you want to try to get all 13 points. And various other ships have different amounts. So it just depends on the ship. It depends on the pilot. The higher initiatives normally get more stuff, but that is not always true. So in which case, there you go. So now we get into format. The only active and also tournament style format is standard. So in which case, what we're going to tell you is that any ship that's been made since 2.0, in other words, if it's been in a black box or when you go into the squadron builder, make sure that you select standard, and it will only show you the standard ships that are available to put into a list. So like this is where we get into what I refer to as the extended. So they can be played as in casual, sure. Go ahead and bring a star class, or I'm sorry, a Star Viper to a casual game. You're not going to be very well liked, but you can do it. There are other ships out there like the TIE Phantom and other ships that have not been reprinted in 2.0. They existed in 1.0, but I don't think you're ever going to see the Star Viper come back because it was a very agile, very annoying, and very difficult ship to shoot down. It's great to play it, but most people didn't like to play against it. So other ships that I can think of that are not as annoying, such as there was the TIE Aggressor, which is basically a TIE fighter with a turret on it. And it's not allowed to be in tournament just yet. Still an awesome ship, but you can't put it into a tournament. You can play it, but that's something you're going to be playing with your friends casually at home. So then you got something that we refer to as Epic. And these right now, Epic is not active because there's not been a 2.5 update. Yes, there is a person who put out some points through Reddit and said, this is what I think it could be. And yeah, you could go ahead and try building a list, but you're not going to be able to get it in Squadron Builder through Launchpad Next, at least. I don't know about Yasby. So in which case, you know, a lot of huge ships, like for instance, the Corvette that you see in the Rebels trying to fly away with Leia with the Death Star plans. You also have other huge ships like the Scum cruiser that you have. You see it in the Rebels cartoon. So in which case, those are the huge ships that are more than just one base. Okay, so now let's go ahead and move on to the next thing. We got rules of engagement. All right, so in which case, as you can see, we got a lot of stuff here. Different pilot cards have different things to let you know about. And we're going to go ahead and start off with ARC. Now, this is a picture of an ARC. And as you can see by this little thing here, when you get your kit, you want to make certain that you end up with a range ruler. Now, some of them are cardboard, and we're going to say, okay, that's cool. It will get you started. But you may want to look on Etsy or check out some people at your local game store and see if they have any acrylics, because those last a lot longer. And plus, they are normally, well, the cardboard's going to weigh down, sometimes bend, and various other things. So in which case, that's why I suggest the acrylic. So now, so an arc, you basically have the whole entire, like you can see right here on all the bases all the time, that there is a primary arc coming out this way, and there's also a back arc on some ships. So on this particular ship, which is ironically named Arc 170, so in which case, this is its primary arc. As you take a look up here at the X-Wing, it's trying to show you a quick field of what can be shot at and what cannot be shot at. So let's say you have a pilot over here in a ship, and you're not going to be able to shoot at them, but you are going to be able to shoot at this ship right here because it is range 2 and in bullseye, which is important for this ability that you see here, or this talent. And that talent is basically, hey, guess what? Marksmanship states that you can take a hit and roll it up to a crit, as it shows here in the demonstration. So in which case, you can only take a shot at ships in your arc up to range 3. If it's beyond range 3, no shot, not happening. Now, there are different parts of the arc, as you can see, such as the bullseye arc, and this helps out with, say, like, you know, the rogue class starfighter who has an ability that basically says, you know, if you are in my bullseye, you are not allowed to spend green tokens. So same thing here with different ships. I want to say that the Nantex Nantex class starfighter, also known as the Bug, for the Separatists, they only have a bullseye arc. They don't actually have a full spread like this one. They can only shoot stuff that is inside that particular double line right there. So, and then you got the TIE Whisper, which it actually has two different arcs. A mobile arc right here that can go front or back, as you can read here. And then it also has a bullseye arc, which is going right out the front, just like you see over here. You can actually roll 3 attack dice here, or you can roll 2 attack dice there. So let's see here. What else do I have for you? Okay, so talents. You have different talents that are based on bullseye. So such as marksmanship, which we already talked about up here. Predator allows you to re-roll an attack die if the ship you're shooting at is in that bullseye arc, and many, many more. So then we've talked about the front or primary arc right here. Most of your cards are going to actually have that number here, and it has the symbol that looks just like this right here, and it's going to give you a number of, say, like 2 or 3 or whatever the case may be, maybe a 4. I think that's what the VCX 100 has, but don't quote me on it. So in which case that is your primary arc. Then you get into what is referred to as a mobile arc. Now, if it has a symbol like this or a symbol like this, then this is what we're talking about with your turret. So as you can see right here, this turret is pointed to the right side, and this is their mobile arc. So anything that can be found in between this line and this line up to range 3, that is a shot that you can do, unless your turret specifically says, like, you can't do a shot beyond range 2, and they all have the numbers next to them. For instance, I'm going to point out over here that even though it's not a turret, this missile or this torpedo can only be shot range 2 to 3. So at this point in time, if this particular X-Wing pilot actually had proton torpedoes on it, you can go ahead and fire that proton torpedo at this TIE fighter and possibly blow it out of the sky. So let's see here. You got some ships that actually have a rear arc, such as the Arc 170 here and the Fire Spray. And we'll talk a little bit about range here, because different ranges are going to do different things. So if you're touching bases range 0, you cannot modify your die. You can't do it. When you're at range 1, as in from here to here, range 1 of each other, then you can roll an additional attack die at that person. Range 2 doesn't really have any effects on die, but it could determine whether you shoot the person with a specific weapon that is not your primary weapon. So, and then on range 3, if this person is in range 3, as you can see, the front corner, closest corner to corner, is range 2. So in which case, yes, he has part of his tail there in range 3, but this would be counted as a range 2 shot. However, if there was another pilot over here that he was shooting at, then that means that the pilot, the defender, would be able to roll an additional defense die. So there you have that. So let's move on to the next thing, which are bases. So as you can see, we got small, medium, and large bases. The smallest one is going to be right here, and that's a majority of your small ships. So as in your X-Wings, your TIE fighters, your interceptors, all sorts of different ships from all sorts of different factions, the droids, the Vulture droids specifically, and all these different ships. So in which case, this particular set is the Saw's Renegades, and you get an X-Wing on this one, and then here you also get a U-Wing, which is a medium base. Now, small bases are a lot more maneuverable. They're easier to fit in between obstacles, and that's just the way it is. Now, a medium base is still very maneuverable, don't get me wrong, and it can fit between obstacles, but you got to plan it right. Otherwise, you're going to end up landing on a rock, and then you can't shoot, and possibly taking, well, you're definitely taking 1 damage, if not possibly 2. So, and then you got into the large bases, and I put this one up as a example because the Jumpmaster 3000, which is Dengar's ship, the punishing one, it's punishing in 2 ways. Punishing to its opponents, but punishing to the person who flies it, because it only flies really well to one direction. If you want to ever turn right, that's going to be a lot of stress for you, and it makes it very difficult to move in between obstacles and basically just fly to the thing, period. Now, the punishing one is just an example of a very difficult large base ship. There are other large base ships out there that are very easy to fly. So in which case, don't be intimidated by large base ships. Are they big? Yes. Are they difficult to fit between obstacles? Yes. But I'm just going to tell you that you can manage them, and quite frankly, just fly them around the outside of the mat, and you can go ahead and get a turret on most of them and shoot to the side and get it done that way. So that's everything that I really have to say about bases. And then we got this crazy thing called resources. So in which case, I'm going to just go ahead and point out to you that there are 3 different links. We're going to leave these links inside the description of this video so that you can click on them at any point in time. As a matter of fact, give me a couple of seconds and I'll even pull them up so that you can see it. I would tell you that if you're going to get into this game, go ahead and bookmark all three of these sites. And if you want to continue getting into this game, even as a casual player, go ahead and download Launch Bay Next. You can access yet another squadron builder anywhere on the internet. But I mean, me personally, I prefer Launch Bay Next. Andre Lind has done a wonderful job of updating things. Yes, there are mistakes every once in a while, but for the most part, it's a solid app. So let's go ahead and move on. So welcome to our channel. Subscribe to our transmissions. Please subscribe to our channel. We are going to have all sorts of different things. We're going to have different playlists for different purposes. This playlist is to help everybody learn the game mechanics. And if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email. And if I get the same question from enough people, then maybe I turn it into a video. If there's any topics that you want us to cover that we don't already have a video for, then send me an email and let's see if I can actually get that taken care of for you. So there's that. And if you are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, then I'm going to tell you that here is a list of weekly places that you can go fly at and try to pick up the game and try to learn some more stuff from other players that have been in the game for a while. So you will always find me, well, normally you will always find me at Order 66 in Plano on Sundays, because that is a day that I try to make it out there on a common or on a regular basis. But sometimes I'm going to tell you that things come up. We all know we have lives. We understand. So anyway, I'm going to tell you that Geek Out over in Burleson, they got some great players out there. We get a chance to fly against them on their every other month tournament. So good people out there. Try to find Nightwing, try to find, we got a lot of good players out there. Try to find Stu. And there are other people, their names just disappeared as I was about to mention them. So I do apologize for that. I've met a couple of people from Sci-Fi Factory at Geek Out. So I know that they have a couple of good players. So check them out over there in Keller. Common Ground, I've got a couple of friends over there. I don't ever get a chance to really get out there unless I am not during the only chance I get to get out there is not during the school year. Because, you know, I have to be at work the next day. So sometimes you will find me Thursday evenings at Order 66 in Plano. And then you have Reaper over in Denton that also still has the games. You may want to check their websites here or look them up and see when they start and everything else. So all right, I had to do a credit slide. So thank you to Slides Carnival and Unsplash for the material that you see in this slideshow. And then again, welcome to our channel. So I did say that I was going to show you these three things. So let's go ahead and do this real quick. You want to definitely get these three websites and bookmark them, as I already have them here. So the first one that I'm going to take you to here is the X-Wing Wiki. And if there's anything that I talked about during the video that you're like, I don't know what that is. Like, I'm pretty certain that I mentioned, let's go ahead and talk about the TIE Phantom. That was something that I mentioned, and you may be like, I have no idea what that is. So maybe we'll pull it up, maybe it won't. Okay, let's find out. So let's see here. TIE Phantom, nope, there we are. So you're going to go ahead and pull it up. It's going to talk to you about it. It's going to tell you about its ship stability and everything else. But this is a extended ship. So let's go ahead and show you a normal standard ship as well. So you got all these different ships here. So let's go ahead and check out the iconic fire spray. And this is going to tell you everything about it, where you can get it. You can get it as Jango Fett's. You can get it through the Slave One expansion pack. And it will tell you all of the pilots for the Scum and Villainy. And it will tell you all the pilots for the Separatists, because the ship can be flown under two different factions. Okay, so now that's everything about the X-Wing Wiki. And then you have AMG's documents. Now, if you are ever looking for a rule, go ahead and click here. If you're ever asking, how is this scenario played? And these are the four scenarios I was talking about. So you can take a look through the rules and see if you can find your answer. Now, in the event you can't find an answer in this rules reference, or the answer doesn't seem to be all that clear, I want to go ahead and tell you to skip on over here to the AMG forum, and you will see that you can search through here, check all these different things that's going on, and AMG does have a person who does answer these questions. So in which case, there you go. All right, now let's go ahead and jump back over here. Another thing that AMG has documents on out there are the scenarios. And you can go ahead and flip through there and see all the different ones that we have currently. And there's a rumor that they're going to make more, but in the meantime, I'm not holding my breath. So in which case, thank you again. Please subscribe to our channel. Come on back here if you are a new X-Wing player, because this is the place to be to learn all about it. And if you're even a veteran, come on by and swing by our playlist that is called the Field Reports, where my son and I, or maybe another person, we go ahead and fly 2 squadrons, and we basically do a frame by frame, round by round a commentary and like report on what happened during that round, what worked, what didn't work. And that's going to be great for some novice X-Wing players, because they may not understand how to fly just yet. And this is why we're here. We're here to help you better fly, better play this game, and grow the community. And we thank you very much for watching. So BatMando out, and we hope that you subscribed, and see you again later.